Hey everybody, welcome back to Extreme IE. In this video, we are going to secure our campus network using Elisitys Cloud Control Center. Now, I've already gone ahead and logged into my cloud portal, and I've brought up my policy and traffic matrix so that we can use those tools to determine where we want to create our policy. Before we do that though, let me kind of give you the lay of the land and explain what I mean. So going down the left-hand side here, you're going to notice that we see all of the security group sources that are sourcing our traffic, and these are based on various different types of criteria. So for example, you're going to see various different user groups like sales, HR. These groups can be based off of Active Directory criteria. So for example, if the department equals HR, I'm going to drop that particular user dynamically into this group once they log into the network. Going across the top, you're going to see we have our destinations, and you're going to see a duplicated set of groups, but you're going to see, and when I say duplicated, I don't mean the same group twice. It is one single group. It's just laid out twice. But you're going to see groups based on maybe device criteria. So what we can also do, in addition to creating a group based on Active Directory criteria, we can also use device information. What have we profiled this device to be? Is it an IP camera? Is it an IP phone? Is it a PLC? What is it? And then let's dynamically drop it into that particular group. And what this does is this gives me a policy matrix where I can actually see active traffic going between my source and destination groups. So if I, let's say, start a segmentation project where I want to limit what my IoT devices can access, not that that's a bad project to have, but using this matrix, I can determine if it's a necessity to have, because right here I can see that all of these white squares are showing me that I currently don't have any active traffic from my IoT devices to the rest of the resources within my environment. Now I can change the time that I'm currently looking at. So right now I only am looking at the last 24 hours, but I could change that to a week or essentially the entire month. Now, if I compare that to these green squares, I can see that I have a group of sales users, engineering users, as well as accounting and finance that have sent a bunch of traffic to my IP cameras. As I mouse hover over the sales group, I can see that sales users have sent 17,528 packets or flows to my IP cameras. If I click on that box, I can get a list of source destination protocols and byte count of what traffic has actually been sent. This allows me to determine where and when I want to create my policy. So if I want to, I can really just go ahead and I can say add policy, and that would automatically create a policy based on the traffic that I see. I'm going to do something a little bit easier. In other words, I'm just going to deny all traffic. I don't want to specifically deny source individual traffic flows. But again, the opportunity and capability is there. So what I really want to do is I want to block my manufacturing users from being able to see my IP cameras. Now you'll also notice that there's a third colored square, which is red and green. This is letting me know that I either have an active policy or once had an active policy that is or was blocking traffic. So in this case, building management sent 8,300 packets to my IP cameras, and I was able to block 1,400 of those. If I flip over to my policy view by using this slider here, I'm going to see that there's no active policies, and so I know that that was a previous policy. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a policy to prevent my manufacturing users from seeing my IP cameras. Before we do that, let's make sure that we do have reachability, and we do. I'll show you how I determined that this was a IP camera in just a few minutes. So let's go ahead and let's prevent this traffic from happening. Let's go ahead and click our policy matrix. You'll notice that the system automatically determines exactly what devices we're going to push policy to. If I click here the details, you'll see that I can see the 2 users that are currently logged in to manufacturing. If I come over here and I click the details to my IP cameras, you'll see that I've already been able to profile and determine that these are the cameras I need to block. Now I can create a manual policy by selecting L3, L4. I can select manual ports protocols. I can create an entire profile of this if I want to, or I can create a pre-canned security profile. What this is this is a profile that I'm going to continually reuse, right? It's like it's a reusable outcome, if you will. It's a repeatable outcome where I'm going to go ahead and say deny all traffic no matter what you are, and I'll just go ahead and say deploy. If I go back to my remote desktop session, what we're going to notice is that these pings stop almost instantly. And that's because what we are doing is a selective push of security group rules and policy to my particular switch. It's essentially utilizing Cisco TrustSec, but we're making API calls into your existing Cisco infrastructure. These are not traditional access lists where we are going to be limited on our source destination protocol or how many ACLs we can have on a switch. This is going to be a control plane based policy where we are now going to be based on group tag information and no longer our traditional IP address information, which I think is very critical to know. If I log into my switch, let me show you exactly what I mean. So let's log in here, and I'm going to say, well, first I'm going to type the right password. That's always key. Typing is critical. Let's try it one more time. There we go. Let's say show run CTS or section CTS. These are all of the different security groups that have been pushed down to my switch. Now I know that my security cameras are security group tag 68. So automatically the system has pushed down to my switch a role-based group that is mapping the IP address to a particular group tag. If I go down and I look at my actual rules, let me just grab my pen here to make it easier for you to see. We are going to apply our rule-based segmentation to every VLAN on the switch, and here are the particular rules where we denied all of our traffic. So here is my IP cameras and my manufacturing users. These are the group tags, and by the way, here's 62 right here talking to my manufacturing user. Here are the group tags that are now enforcing this policy using the native switch mechanism, enforcing these rules on the control plane. So what I'm going to do is, just for kicks, I'm going to go turn this off. So we'll go over to my my table view, and I'm not even just going to undeploy the policy. I could if I wanted to. That would essentially remove the policy from the switch, but would keep it in Cloud Control Center so I could redeploy it at any time. In fact, let's do that. Let's just say undeploy. We'll go back to my remote desktop session, and you can see that that policy has now been removed. If I refresh my switch, you'll notice this policy here is now gone. So this is how, using Cloud Control Center, we can easily segment our campus network based on identity, based on security groups. We can see everything from the traffic flow, so we can see what's talking to what and how is it talking. We can make a determination on what policies we should and shouldn't push, and we can easily go and create those policies, again, without having to replace all of our Cisco gear, without having to install any hardware. We can use this completely cloud-based platform to reach into our network gear, push those security groups, and leverage identity rather than VLANs, ACLs, etc. So this is how this platform makes things incredibly easy for us. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.